Well, today I want to try and do a vlog that I wouldn't have been able to do not that long ago. It's about anxiety and PTSD. Now, ever since I was a child, I had anxiety. I didn't really recognize it until I became a parent myself and ended up helping one of my own children with it and realizing that what I was looking at was actually me. Now, there's reasons for that anxiety, which I'll get into later, but basically it grew and grew and grew until it became unbearable. I couldn't survive life. I couldn't function. It got to the point where I was sitting in a restaurant with my wife and my youngest kid in a shopping centre and had to leave. Not for any logical reason. I just had to get up and leave because the anxiety was so high. My body was telling me that I was in fear for my life. It made no sense at all. So look, after that I went and I saw a psychologist, a guy actually I know personally and really like. And I used to teach him guitar actually a long time ago. But anyway, he talked to me for a while and he said, look, tell me what sort of traumas you've had in your life. Now, I've had a few. I grew up in Belfast. I was born in 1960, so just put your mind back into the history of Northern Ireland and that should tell you something. So, you know, I told him a list of things. I thought of some other things that had happened to me, a couple of attempts on my life in London. And I said, but, you know, this doesn't make sense. I survived all that. You know, I'm happy. I learned from them all. I can't just figure out why I'm still so anxious. And he said, you have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And I said, really? And he said, yep. What it is that all this stuff that happened to me is stuck in the part of your brain which deals with emergencies and life-threatening times. And the other part of my brain, the logical part, couldn't deal with it. It had never gone through the logical part to be figured out, even though I thought I was doing that. So he put me onto a treatment called EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprogramming. I'm going to put a link to the video where this actual guy, a wonderful guy called James Alexander, who was my therapist, where he explains EMDR. But anyway, the principle of EMDR is that I had to go through all these traumas again, one by one session for each one, and talk to him about them again. He would ask me specifically designed questions, but the whole time I had to follow his finger and he would just do this. So I had to keep my head still and my eyes were scanning. Now what this does, I'll simplify it down into non-science because I like simple shit. What this does is that emergency part of your brain that's looking for the saber-toothed tiger, it's busy scanning, right? It thinks it's busy scanning. And while it is, the logical part of your brain gets to listen to what you're saying, to talk about your experience that you had, and work out, yes, this happened, yes, this was bad, yes, this affected me like this, but I survived it. It's not around anymore, it's not an immediate danger to me anymore, and that's it. But I just thought, you know, yeah, give it a go. That sounds a bit too bloody easy. Anyway, after about 7 or 8 sessions, I am literally cured. I haven't had any anxiety since. Now, this is life-changing for me. I was in that state for 50 years. That's a long time to have not been able to function properly. Now over those 50 years I developed strategies, sometimes even subconsciously, to get by in life. And funny enough, it was getting up to its absolute worst when I started motovlogging and on that first tour with Mr. Oz Adventure, when I met all those wonderful people. All I wanted to do was get away. You know, when we'd meet up in a crowded place, I just wanted to get the hell out of there. That was you know, the stressed up part of me. The normal part of me was loving it, and I loved these people, and I had a great time meeting them. But my body was constantly telling me, get the hell out of here. Now, what a load of rubbish, I thought, but anyway, it all made sense when he explained it to me about trauma and how your body reacts. So, and in fact, it got to its absolute worst. Just after that first tour with Mr. Oz, I had to go home and bury my mum. She died. And at every airport, I had massive panic attacks. I don't know how the hell I got through it. I just had to force myself to keep going. You know, there was thousands of dollars at stake on airfares, etc. And I did. So, you know, I'd spent all this time coping, but after 50 years, the coping wasn't working, and I did need this help. And I was really glad to find something that didn't involve drugs or surgery, you know, just psychology. So that was a very wonderful ending to that potentially horrible story. Interestingly though, there was two things that always used to make me feel free of it. One was playing music, which I love, and the other was riding motorbike, which I love. During all those tours and everything, I was always keen to get going, because when I was on the motorbike, it never affected me. But I started getting affected alright, just wait till we get past these guys. I started getting affected whilst playing music. Now, in hindsight, which is always a wonderful thing, I was able to work out that while I was riding a motorbike, my eyes were doing this, constantly scanning. So my little stressed out, look out you're going to die part of my brain was happily busy trying not to die on the motorbike. Whereas when I was playing music, there was nothing to worry about. Oh, this is going to sound odd. And when there's nothing to worry about, that's when it would be at its worst. Because this little stressed out emergency part of my brain would want something to do, so it would freak me out by sending all the wrong signals to all the wrong places. Anyway, that's my story. So many people have a story like that, whether it's anxiety, depression, whatever. You know, lots of us suffer. There are answers, there are ways of coping, and there are ways of curing it. Not always the same answer for the same problem and different people. And you know, I mean, I was very lucky to get a psychologist I had a wonderful relationship with. You know, not every psychologist will work for every person either. So that's my little story. I got to tell you, it's like having your life back. How I've been for the last about, I don't know, year and a half or so. Has been fantastic. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you did, go check out that video if you're interested in EMDR as a treatment for PTSD. That's enough initials. Captain Cranky out.